right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Rise Urban Nation. I have a special guest in the building today, Auntie Oye. And wait till you see how Auntie has set up this space. She's taking me back to the motherland. Before we started, she was telling me I need to go. Auntie, why do I need to go back? Tell them.
Well, you have to go back because the people that brought you here, you need to go and thank them because now you have a good life. The only reason you have a good life because of the price they paid. So you standing on
Yes.
their shoulders. So you need to go back and pour some libation and say thank you for all of the hard
Yes,
work
yes,
you
I
did.
agree. Because, without, I often tell people, look, without all the ancestors who have paved the way for us, I would not be here to doing what I am doing today. So I am thankful and grateful, and stand in the presence and the power of them. So tell me about you. I see. Well, actually, before we jump into that, let's talk about you. Um, who is Auntie Oye for those people who don't know? And I know that's a loaded question, so you could take it as far as wide as you want.
That's a very good question. So I am from Liberia,
Okay.
West Africa. But my ancestry is also in the United States of
Mm,
America. My great grandparents were Americans. My great grandmother comes from
mm,
Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. My great grandfather comes from Georgia. I come from the line of the great lady
oh
Harriet
wow.
Tubman. So yeah, so most people will look for the ancestry in Africa. I have to come to America to find mine. I am third generation
Mm,
Liberian.
that
So, what I'm doing right now is I'm telling the stories of my ancestors through my work.
mm,
And that's what I
that
do.
is beautiful. Now that must have took a lot of work to track down that many generations. Like, was this something that your family has done throughout the years, or did you have to solely take this on yourself and get everybody involved? How were you able to? Because I know that's
No, well, growing up in Liberia, one thing I like about the Africans, they will remind you of who you are every blessed day. Your parents will remind you, your grandparents will remind you. They will remind you. You can't
the,
forget because your very name, like my name,
the,
Oye, the ethnic group I come from is from the eastern part of Liberia and
the,
is Grebo. And these are also warriors. So the name Oye means they say. So they gave us exact meaning of your name according to your
mm,
birth. And that name, wherever you go, when I call my name, everybody will know who I am. And it means they say, who this child belongs to?
mm-hmm,
Who is this person? Who is
mm-hmm.
she? So that name Oye. So wherever I go, that's how. So, but you have American names as well because, like I say, my
The, the,
ancestry. So here, I often tell the children. People often ask me, "So why did you come to America?" And the story is, my ancestors asked me to come here because they said they did a lot of work here in America. They built a
mhm.
lot of structures, but the people forgot to pay them. So they told me to come to America and collect the money. So the next question. So do you think I have the money? And the kids will shake their heads and say, no. I said, what do you mean? I said, because you're teaching us.
I love it. Uh,
You see, but that's it. Like I said, my ancestors paved the way for me already, so I don't have to be enslaved
Yeah,
because they
yeah,
were.
absolutely. So, what
Yeah.
what the late great Bob Marley say? Free yourself from mental slavery. and that is the key.
Yes, yes.
So you know, mo-
The same thing, Bob Marley. Bob Marley reminded us the same thing. You got to remember who
Mhm,
you are. No matter if you got two dimes, if you have no
mhm,
dimes, always think of
mhm.
who you are. The people went through a lot for us to be able there
Man.
to do this.
Now, how does one connect? You know, see, because me, I'm born Black American, but as I told you earlier before we started recording, my stepdad was Nigerian, and you know, later on in life, you know, the elders and the community gave me the name Adekunle, but for other Black Americans, I feel like they may not have that same connection or same path to get back to who they are, and they may not hold the African name that you know their ancestry may have had. They might be holding on to the slave name. How do they go back and connect to who they are? Like what would you give them as advice of connecting back to who they are?
Well, I think a lot of people now are doing this. They're going through to find the
Mhm,
lineage, this new thing online where you can go and find out things about your past,
mhm.
the
Right.
family tree. So a lot of people are doing ancestors.com or
Uh-huh.
something like that. So, but what I'm doing, I'm asking people. So through storytelling, like what are we
Yeah.
doing right now? I teach. Have you heard of this man,
Is that Mansa Musa? Yeah, the
Mansa
one of the
Musa?
he was the
Yeah,
richest man. Like, well, but tell everybody the story for those who don't know Mansa Musa.
right. So I'm teaching them to be griots,
Uh-huh.
storyteller. And so we're learning about this. So this is the different things I teach the children because if the children don't know this because their parents don't
Mm-hmm.
know. And so by teaching the kids, I'm hoping that the kids will teach their parents. So through storytelling, simple things, tell your children where they were
Mm-hmm.
born. What is the meaning of your
Mm-hmm.
name? Who are your grandparents? Who are your parents? Just simple things. And when you keep telling that and making it more
Mm-hmm.
interesting, that's how you build confidence. That's how you build the child up into believing
Mm-hmm.
how important they are through the stories. Everybody is
Mm-hmm.
important. Everyone. So you don't have to wear something to be important. No, the fact that you're alive, you can think you're important and keep reminding them because that's what sometimes we say, oh, you Africans so pompous, so that they remind you can't get away from it. You are this. You are African. So if you make a mistake, you will hear that. If you do the right thing, and that's what keep us in line. And this is what happened through storytelling. Our ancestors were able to share their
Mm-hmm.
information
I
with
love it.
us. So storytelling is very important, and that's what I teach the
Yeah. So
culture.
tell me, what made you choose Mansa Musa as one of the stories that you tell, and what is usually the transformation that you see in people when they're hearing the story for the first time and they engage with it?
They think it's a lie, the first thing. So when I tell them he was richer than Bill Gates and Bezos and everybody, they can't believe it. So what it is through storytelling because when you can understand the thing, the only rich people are the movie stars or the
Hmm.
celebrities. But long before they came, we had our own
Hmm.
celebrities. So I have to just keep remembering by telling them the story. So making them want to learn more about who
Hmm.
they are. So in Africa, we start teaching storytelling as three
Yeah.
years old because you can think, you're a thinker. and went through the stories. That's how you're able to
Mm-hmm.
develop the sense of importance of
Yeah.
you. So through teaching about this guy, I wanted them to know because they have a lot of people have such negative images of
Mm-hmm.
Africa. They think the only thing we have there flies, huts, and
Yeah.
poverty. They don't know that I never saw a homeless person in Africa until I came to
Mm.
America. So everybody gets
Mm-hmm.
something to eat. You have beggars, but every human being in Africa has a place
Mm-hmm.
to stay. It may not be a mansion, but they have somebody will give them come sleep behind my house in my
Mm-hmm.
something. And so it's just negative because of what they
Yeah.
see on television. Now that makes my job more challenging because I have to come and
Yeah.
debunk all of that. And I started doing that too with
Okay.
flashcards,
Uh,
like basic things. How many countries do they
yeah.
have in Africa? Okay, what are the fast foods in Africa that we eat? Fruits. And the answers are there: pizza, hamburgers, or fresh fruit. Fresh fruits. What types of food do Africans eat? Fruit, meat. Because these questions they have been asking me forever. What do you eat? Where
Right.
do you stay? What do you wear? Do you wear
Right.
shoes? I'm still asked those questions today. So the only thing I could do was come up, and the children asked me to do
Uh-huh.
these flashcards. So it's easy, just two sentences, so you don't have to look at a complete African map to be able
I
to
love it.
understand. So I'm really fortunate that I could do this for the kids. And the kids that wanted this were impoverished
Really?
kids, but they were so
Okay.
curious. Yes, my brother, I have the best
Uh-huh.
activity in life, the best time to work with the children. They are so good. They are
Yeah.
so brilliant. We have amazing children. Just take time
Mhm.
and listen to them and get to know them. I'm really privileged and I'm honored to do what I
Yeah.
do with them. I'm not saying it's easy, but
Yeah.
it's
Well, and
fun.
we're privileged to have you to continue to share these stories because I feel in current American culture, if it wasn't for people like you, these stories would get lost and get more buried and until we can't see them anymore. So thank you for keeping that alive. Now, tell me a little bit about what's the age range of these kids and the journey that you took to get to where you are today. I know you had the calling, but I can't imagine that you just
How much
hey,
time do you have?
whatever we got a good hour, so whatever version you want to give me, we will take it.
I know. No, the journey is still on. So I came from Liberia. We had, I don't know were you aware, we had a
Yeah.
civil war in
Mm,
1993. And I had to leave because in Africa, when you have these disturbances, the first people to go after the people who've got something
yeah.
going on for them. So you're the upper middle class, the middle class. Yeah, people who've got it going on. If you don't have anything, nobody
Mm,
interested in you. And so I came to return to Los
mm,
Angeles, and people kept asking me questions about Africa. Many people who live here don't know much about Africa, and I can't say I blame them because they have their own lives to
mm-hmm,
think about. But if you don't know it, don't pretend that you do and try to
mm-hmm,
belittle me and try to think that you're all that. And so I decided, people kept asking, and what I did, all right, I'm going to tell you the story. But I think I would do it. I'm a
mm,
theater buff. So all my entertainment or to get a balance in my life, I could go to theater every day,
mm-hmm,
live theater. Every day I could go and sit in a theater. And so I decided, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I prepare the food. I prepare just so we'll feature one African country And I started this in Los
Mhm.
Angeles, 1993. You feature
Mhm.
one country, the food of the country, the fashion, the people
Mhm.
of the country, and tell the
Mhm.
story. And it caught on. It was very, very popular. It was very great. It was
Mhm.
awesome. And then in 1996, I was invited to come to Washington, D.C. to perform for Bill Clinton's
Nice.
inauguration. Everybody asked me not to come because they said, "No, we need you here in LA. Don't go." And I came here, and that's when the hell began. It was extremely challenging. It was most challenging because I wasn't aware, although Washington, D.C. had majority black people, but I didn't realize Africans and African Americans were
Yeah.
wide apart.
Two different worlds.
There was a
Yeah.
huge gulf.
Because I remember
Yeah,
growing up.
yeah. And I had no idea.
I remember growing up during that time, like depending how culturally I was defined, because sometimes I would wear my Nigerian outfits, and then black people would shame me, and then if I'm in my black culture outfits, um, Nigerians would think I'm American, and so they wouldn't give me the same type of respect, love, and admiration because they think I'm one of the Black Americans who shame them.
Okay, so now then you can
Yeah.
understand what I'm talking about. So that was the challenge because, like I said, I was so naive, and my naivety made it even more difficult because I just assumed when reading books that we were on the same page, but we're not even today. So what I decided is to focus on the
Mm,
children because if the parents didn't know, so the parents
mhm,
were jaded. The children only wanted me to take them to, they always wanted to go to Africa, take me to Africa. They wanted to go to the safari,
mm,
the animals, songs. The adults would try to put
mm,
you down. So I decided, no, no need to fight that. Let me hang with the children. Believe you me, if the children, I've told them if they could pay, buy things, I won't hang with the
mm,
adults. I hang with them because the children have a curiosity that a lot of adults don't have. And that's the
mhm,
curiosity I have. I always want to know what's on the other
mhm,
side. I always want to know what's down the street. And why is that street that
mm,
way? Or what is the name on the street? I'm just curious about
mhm.
life. And that's how I find the children. So I get along well with them because I
Yeah.
think like them.
At what age you think a child's curiosity is at its highest peak before we start to formulate our opinions and get into this construct of adulthood? Where does the curiosity stop being as open, and how do we keep the openness?
I think that what they told me in Africa said, as long as, since from the baby, from the time you're born, but because you can't speak, you can't talk, so it is difficult to share that
Mhm.
information. And that's why at 3 years old, the Africans believe you can tell your story. So you get up, they say, "Oh, go tell a story." And you start off with once upon a time, and everybody said time. That just to give you that little boost. And sometimes you get up to tell a story, but then you forgot. And all you can, so I often tell them, just say the end. Then everybody, woo, woo. And that's how you build, that's how you build the confidence. So I do the same way I learned in Africa. That's what I'm telling the children. You get up and you introduce yourself. My name is Vera Oyé Yaa-Anna. And sometimes that's the end of it. And then you say,
Uh-huh.
my story is,
That-
because you forgot. Then you say the end. Everybody, "Ooh." And that's it. But that's how you build the self-esteem. So whenever I meet a new group of kids, we start off the story, and a lot of them can barely speak. And I'm telling you, after the three times, oh my God, they own everything. And that's how you build the confidence in children, because when they speak they just want somebody to listen, because in a lot of households the parents are busy and you got a talkative person. Shut up, shut up, keep quiet, don't say another word, boy. You know, the children tell me all of this. So I don't normally, if I
Uh-huh.
ask the child to tell me a story about your home, I don't do that, because they'll tell you everything that their parents don't want anybody to know. So, because kids don't have any filter, they don't have any agenda, they just
Yeah.
tell you what is. So yeah, I enjoy working with them. I
Uh,
learn a lot. They are my mentors, because when I came here, I couldn't find adults to
yeah.
mentor me. So I said, you know what? Let me ask the
Hmm.
children. And that's what I do. I normally, when I'm having a planning meeting to come up with a new
Uh,
a program, I bring the children and say, tell me
yeah.
what you want. And I mean, they got 100 ideas, some of it crazy, but I've never had a kid who said, oh, it's too difficult. Nothing is
Yeah.
difficult for them. So I go to them. And you know, a lot of the adults, when we're having meeting, they're rolling their eyes at me and
Uh,
all like that. I could care less. I know who takes care of me, the children. That's who
yeah.
I want to tell me what you think. Tell me
Uh-huh.
what you want. Tell me, because my mother traveled a lot. She was a
Yeah.
storyteller in Liberia. She
Oh, so
traveled a
see,
lot.
it comes
So what
is
she
it's in the
told
family
us,
bloodline.
yes, yes. So she says, whenever you go to a village, if you get lost, just ask a child.
Mhm.
They will take you to where you want to go. And so I've done that here in the States. I've asked the children, I've worked in a lot of the challenging neighborhoods. And the first thing I've asked them, okay, so what do you think? And one time I saw these kids just standing around at the door of this. And I said, why are you standing? I said, we're protecting you. I said, protecting me. So, oh, yeah. And I'm thinking, why? Oh, yeah. They know you're our auntie. So they're not going to mess with you. And these are 7-year-old kids. I'm thinking, what? And people say, oh, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Kids are amazing. They have foresight, intuition. They're amazing, and that's why I get upset when I see people abusing them, because they're one of the best people to have around you. You will never get old, and you will never get bored. They will always keep you happy. You have to be a thinker to be with
Yeah.
them,
This is so true.
because they come up with all kinds of
Like,
ideas.
this is so true. Like your story reminded me of the late great Whitney Houston when she sang that I believe the children of the future, teach them well, and let them lead the way. That's exactly what you
Yes.
are doing. Um, I love your story so much because I think you're gonna inspire so many different people. And uh, tell me this: what were because I want them to see in your story how they could potentially you know do something similar or find their path the way you found your path and just lighten it up. What were some of the steps that you kind of took, to build the storytelling business and flashcards and the build the relationships with the kids like you've done? What would you say were the steps you took to get here?
That's a great question, but my
Uh-huh.
passion. I'm passionate about what I do. So, one of the things I found out, when it's your passion, you don't think about money. I can't tell you how many times I forgot that the people had to pay me. So, because I was so busy enjoying myself. And somebody said, oh, we didn't give you the check. I said, oh, yeah, okay, I forgot. because I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it because I'm really enjoying. That's what I want to do. And when you're doing your hobby, when it is your hobby, you really it doesn't become work. So I often tell people say, "Oh, well, how can I?" Say, "No, just go about what it is you like to do. What is your hobby?" So I used to work with prisoners, inmate in DC jail, and I was asking them. Well, this one guy told me his hobby was stealing. I said, well, stealing is not a hobby. But he thought everything you did. And I kept saying, no, because I said it's difficult. I said, no, when it's your hobby, it's easy. But because it's your hobby, a lot of people don't think that it has much value because somebody did not tell them that, oh, this is great. Because if you're waiting for people to validate you, validate
Mm-hmm.
yourself. So what I do, oh, you did a
Right.
good job. Oh, you did. You pat myself. Because if I wait for somebody to come to do that, who's
Yeah.
going to show up? So you have to do these things for yourself and don't rely on people. Just go about what it is you
Yeah.
like to do. What is the hobby? What is the thing that make you think all night? When I'm working, you forget that you have to
Right.
go to sleep. You forget that, oh my God, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Because you got a rhythm, and it's humming and you having a good time.
Yeah,
You
I
know what
do.
I'm
I
talking
do.
about, especially when you
Uh-huh.
self-employed, so you're thinking of all these ideas, and so by the time you look, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, and you say, "Oh my God, I didn't go to bed yet." Yeah, that's fine. Whatever it is you enjoy doing,
Yeah.
do it. So what I'm grateful that I do what I like, and I
Like,
like what I
I
do.
have this saying that I tell when I often go back and talk to the kids. I say, hey, do what you love and love what you do. Don't chase the money. Let the money chase you. And what I mean by that is that
Yeah,
when you're doing what you love,
yeah,
people will gladly, the universe will gladly provide a means for you because you're in that space and energy. I remember the first time somebody paid me to go speak somewhere, and I was like, "Oh, you want to pay me? Like, okay." There's like, how much would it cost? I was like, "Oh, I don't know," and I gave him a number, and it's like, "Oh, that's it." I was like, "Oh, you would pay more?" But that's because you're following your
yeah,
passion
yeah, yeah,
and pursuing your purpose here on earth. So I love that. I love that.
yeah. Because we all come to the universe with a package. We come
Yeah.
complete package. So God is giving each of us a gift. So when this was revealed to me to do, I didn't want to do it. I said, "Oh no, I don't have time for this. This is crazy." But then the more I realized, oh, this is not so bad, especially to tell people about Africa. They were
Yeah.
clueless. And the more so, it's a
Yeah.
dinner theater, a West African
Mhm.
dinner theater. And so every time I call a reporter, call me, and if they had never experienced a West African
Yeah.
dinner theater. And so people were flocking. And now my the other thing was by invitation only. So I had to, yeah, by invitation only. So you get an invitation and you send the money in
Uh,
advance, and then you show up. And sometimes, depending on what was revealed to me, maybe sometimes I only want 25 people. Sometimes I want 50, 75. Most times I couldn't tell you how many. So the information comes to me, and that's what I
I
did.
like it.
So it was very different. So because it was African, they had never seen anything like that. The other thing, we don't eat other paper and plastic. So the dining etiquette. And so I till this day, that's it. I didn't grow up eating other paper, plastic. And so I'm teaching children that I work with how to do that. I don't eat fast food. I eat good food. I don't, that's, I mean, why am I going to put this stuff in me? It doesn't make sense. So you must take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And so the food I cook, everything is
Yeah.
fresh. I've only eaten one hamburger in my life, and that was 1970 when I came to America, and I've never put another one. I couldn't understand how anybody could eat that stuff. But I'm not knocking you. If that's what you want to eat, fine, but
Right.
I'm not going to
Right.
eat it. So I teach children and adults how to
Right.
eat
You're
healthy.
teaching health and wealth, along with history. So you're doing a lot of things. Uh, I could
Yes.
I consider you one of the uh, uh, one of those aunties that's just full of knowledge and wisdom. And I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this question: what is one good lesson life has taught you?
Oh, one lesson, you have to be
Uh,
flexible. You have to be
mm,
honest. You have to be loving. You first have to love yourself. And everybody you meet is a friend, they're not strangers. The other thing you have to do, you have to lend yourself, you have to teach other people. You have to be open. And so the lessons I learned is never mind if it looks challenging. Just keep trying. Don't give up, no matter how difficult it is. Don't give up. It may not be today, but it'll be tomorrow. Keep striving. Is that if that is your goal, keep going because
I
eventually
love it.
you'll get
I
there.
love it. Now, something that you alluded to earlier about being called to do this work, and it was like, oh, I don't have time for that, I'm too busy, or I don't want to do that. I think a lot of people, you're not alone, because a lot of people struggle with that. So somebody who's probably sitting in their dead end job, or they're contemplating new life choices, and they're being called to do something that's in their mind, and they're facing that same battle that you faced way back then. What some advice would you give to somebody like that who's saying, oh, maybe I don't have the time, but can I do it? Like, how do you give them the same advice that helped you catapult into this work, and then uh take it just one step at a time and go through the process?
Well,
Right.
everything is a process. Like I said, nothing is going to happen overnight. You have to have patience with yourself. If you're in a hurry, I can tell you, well, I don't know about anything being in a hurry to do anything because the God who made you and brought you here, the universe is here and it will respond to you as you respond to it. So, the other thing, I'm a meditator, so you pray a lot because, yeah, sometimes it's confusing. You don't know which way is right, left, what. So, what do? Meditate. So, I'm a yogi. So, you sit there 5 to 10 minutes and just relax, and the information will come to you. Now, there are times that if you're not sure, just keep asking. Reach out to the universe and say, I'm confused. I don't know whether I'm going or coming. But you can only do that in a quiet solitude. You can't do that walking the street or in the noisy market. Find a place every day. Go within yourself. Say a few words, say a few affirmations, close your eyes for 5 minutes, and ask the divine to come. So it's with prayers that a lot of things are revealed and answered. So without prayers, I couldn't have done anything. I couldn't have been. Yeah, sometimes you fight it off. I didn't want to come here. Then I came here. I wanted
Hmm.
to leave. when things didn't go my way, I was
Yeah.
so angry with the universe. I was angry with my ancestors. I was angry. And then I had to stop because fortunately I had people around me who could say, no, 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 you're on the
Hmm.
right path. It's looking hard. It's looking difficult, but people here
Hmm.
need you. And they told me the children, I said, well, what do I want
Hmm.
to do with them? They said, oh no,
Hmm.
they need you. So I used to work in Virginia, and then people asked me, the police, couple of people asked me to come to
Hmm.
Washington, D.C., because the children
Yeah.
here were in need. And I came. And since then, this is where exclusively I work in low income
Yeah.
communities because these are the people who need me
Yeah,
the
I could have
most.
used you as a young man growing up in Northwest Washington D.C. You know, my father, he was a great provider. He had to work a lot, so I didn't get as many stories as I would like to get, but I get them now more so as I'm older. And I think if I had somebody like you in there, it would have helped me developed a lot faster in life. So with bridging the two worlds of embracing both of these cultures and getting them to come together.
But then it would also be challenging. I spoke with a nephew of mine yesterday. I hadn't talked to him for a while. So he has a couple of kids, and everybody was telling me hello. And then he says, well, I need to send you guys to her boot camp because he said he's now 45. And he says, you used to wake us up on Saturday morning to clean up, do the windows, wash the screens. He says, and then we have to go outside and clean the yard. He said, you work us. So he said, they used to go to their parents and say, when is she leaving? Because it's on a weekend, I just
Yeah.
go to visit. They said, but we couldn't wait for you to leave. So what I'm saying, these kids, but now, but I said, I asked him, I said, so you think that was, he said, oh no, thank you
Uh-huh.
so much. He said, I see the work
Yeah.
ethic. I can't tell you how grateful I am to my parents, especially my mother, for developing the strong
Mhm.
work ethic.
Yeah.
Strong. I will not complete, I will not leave the task unless I
Yeah.
complete it. And yeah, when you have strong work ethic, nothing can
Yeah.
stop you. Like I said, it will take a while, but that's
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Everything, things that are worthwhile take a little bit longer. So I tell people that that if it comes
Yes,
too fast, you don't hold this. It doesn't hold the same value and weight and rewards, right? But those things that do take longer, those are the things that are truly your
yes.
most important in your life and most grateful for. So take your time.
Oh yes, yes. So that's what you have to show gratitude
Yeah.
every day. Because, like, look what's happening
Yeah.
in Ukraine. You
Hmm.
could be there. I could be there, but we're
Hmm.
here. So, we are praying for them. And sometimes you feel helpless, like you can't do anything. But what do you do? Just keep sending
Yeah.
light to them because it's a difficult, challenging thing to leave your home. It is the saddest thing. So I experienced that you leave everything
Yeah.
behind. You forget things because you're running for your life. You can get those things again. So a lot of Americans have not experienced those kinds of things, and I don't wish that on anyone. But when
Hmm.
you lose your home, you lose your center. Your center look like drops, and you have your perspective then is a little different, and you have more
Yeah.
empathy. So I am fortunate that as I walk, I know mostly all of the street people
Hmm.
because I'm typical African to tell everybody hello. We
Yeah.
speak to everybody,
This is true.
So they call me, oh, my immigrant queen. Whatever they call me, hi, hi, speaking to them, and then they want some money. Sometimes I have money, sometimes
Hmm.
I don't. And some of them have given me
Hmm.
money. Because I said, look, I don't have any money. Oh, you need something?
Hmm.
Sure. Give me $1 or $2, But everybody is your
Okay.
neighbor, and everybody is your
Yeah.
friend. So that's the African thing. We're very friendly
Yeah.
people.
And that is something I've learned. No matter what African I run into, we're friendly people, and we will feed you all. If you, even if you're not hungry, come eat.
Yes,
Uh,
always feeding
yeah.
people. Yes, yes. So that's what I do. So I have increased my food budget because, like, for our programs, a lot of the children bring their siblings,
Yeah.
younger siblings. And then I have uh, children who ask me, can I take a plate to my mom? So, yes. So you don't want to turn anybody down. Yes, take food, take the food
Yeah.
home. Because, when somebody is hungry, you feed them, they'll never forget that.
Yeah.
So people say, "But how come the kids enjoy your program?" I said, because I gave them food. I feed them good food because I teach them how to prepare the food. And so they understand the process and they know what the
Mm,
ingredients are. So they're my best students. The other thing they like to they can
yeah.
memorize
Yeah.
anything. So I'm fortunate. I work, like I said, with
Yeah.
amazing
Yeah.
children.
Amazing kids. So I, my next question is kind of like a two-part question. I wanna ask you, what do you think the future has in store for your industry of just this African storytelling and programs for these young people? And then as you continue to change and develop the young hearts and minds of these young people, what does it look like as far as bridging the gap and connection between, blacks and Africans, no matter where they're at in the diaspora?
Well, I see the future
Mm,
is bright because as the children, you see now we have the internet.
mm,
So as the world now has becomes a little
mm,
smaller, and the children now have an awareness. A lot of people have. So I see a lot of children I have met want to do
mm,
music. So we got keyboards. You want some kids want to do
mm,
drumming. The kids want to do it. They want to do that. There is so much open to
mm,
them to do. The problem here is, and I'm hoping it's not a problem, is having attentive
mm,
parents. Because if you're a young person and you don't have that adult role
mm,
model, it
mm,
can be challenging. So I'm praying that they will have some good
mm,
adults, some well meaning adults, because when you kid, I know, I mean, if somebody doesn't guide you, where
mm,
how are you going? So we need adults to step
mm.
up, because they're children. Let them
Yeah.
be children, but we want you to be
Mm-hmm.
the adults. So the future for the children is
Yeah.
great. The future for the adults, I'm a very optimistic person. I'm hoping that they can, because you know what, children have a way of forcing the parent, pushing the
Yeah.
parents to do things. Three kids have
Yeah.
given me jobs. They like what I did. And so this one boy, he went and told his dad, "You got to hire her, let her come and cook
Yeah.
for us." So I
Uh-huh.
prepared dinner. Another kid went home. She told her aunt. Her aunt had a after school project, so you gotta hire her to come and tell us a story. These kids I'm talking about, one was three
Yeah.
years old. The woman didn't know my name. The kids describing this woman asked all over Capitol Hill who this was. Eventually,
Uh-huh.
I met her. Normally, when I meet someone and I ask, well, who do I need to thank for the opportunity to meet? And she
Uh-huh.
said, Brianna. Well, I'm looking at Brianna in the corner. I said, this kid, she was 3. She said, yes, she saw you at a camp. I said, oh my God. So it's a lifelong
Yeah.
relationship. And so kids are open to ideas. they would bug their parents like when I offer a
Uh-huh.
new dish. This parent came one time very angry. Why did you tell this kid to go and buy, you gave them this African food, you know, and I don't have the time to go to the supermarket. So couscous, the kid wanted this couscous, and the mother was so angry. So the kid said, I like the way Auntie Oye prepare it. She showed me how to
Uh-huh.
prepare it. Just give me, go and buy it, and I can do it myself. So she came to the workshop and she said, You told, I said, No, I made it and he liked it. Today,
Uh,
she's a good friend because she realized, you know, so that the
uh,
children can be very persuasive, and they will
yeah.
harass you until you do what they want. So, yeah, every minute. Because, like even sometimes when I'm telling a story that I
Yeah.
told before, the kid will whisper in my ear, You forgot to cry. Oh, yeah, 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 okay. If they know the they know the
They
secret. They will
will. They
remind
will.
you. And I thank them. They just, yeah, and it's
Right.
a good thing. So they're paying attention all the time. Don't ever think they're not
Right.
paying attention. They are. They're the wisest people I have met. So I enjoy being with them, and I'm very fortunate to
Right.
know them.
So, I love it. I love it, and I think as those kids grow, the ones that you have influenced as they grow up to become adults, then they will be the next generation to help move this forward as well too. And you're setting these little seeds in them that allow them to change small habits that they may have grown up with, so they can replace one burger with some couscous or some pounded yam or whatever you have taught them how to cook and eat.
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
and it's
And
healthier for them too.
we have a program, a jazz
Okay.
appreciation for
Uh huh.
elementary school kids. So we started this program, and this one kid, so we having Mardi Gras for us is on
Okay.
Tuesday. So the kids are going to have first and second graders at this Eagle Academy going to
Yeah.
have the Mardi Gras. So we're teaching them about Duke Ellington, who's a native in Washington, D.C. And while we tell the story, then they can draw the figures. So this one, then we started telling them about Louis
Uh
Armstrong, who is a native of New
huh.
Orleans. And then so the kids we started singing the beautiful life. So the kid knew the lyrics.
Wow.
So I said, how come you know this? She said, because I'm very smart. So I You're right. So these are the kind of things spontaneous. They come up with ideas, and like we told them
Uh-huh.
Scott Joplin. So I'm teaching them. The reason I'm teaching them because I got that information also when I was
Yeah.
very young. So I'm a jazz buff, and jazz is America's indigenous
Mm.
music. So I want these kids to know about the different
Yeah.
types of music. So they know rap, they know hip hop, but now I want them to get into jazz. So yeah, jazz appreciation. So I have a well-renowned artist, a
Yeah.
saxophonist,
Yeah.
Herb Scott. I have a
Uh huh.
trombonist coming. And yeah, so they would get to really see real people playing these instruments. Hopefully, when they grow up, they might be a musician. I don't know, but I want to have Mardi Gras. I told them about Mardi Gras. I've
Uh
told
huh.
them the story. So we will go on to create our own New
Nice.
Orleans on Tuesday. I'm getting
I love
ready.
it.
So I've got my crown. I got everything they need.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So Here's what I feel like me and you could talk for hours, but give me one of your favorite stories of a young kid that you've probably worked with that you're willing to share because I, I love hearing these different stories. Give me one good one.
Well, this story. So I met these kids, and like I say again,
But,
it's in the hood. So that every time we did something, they would say, "I feel
yeah.
you." I couldn't understand what that meant. They would just, all of them in unison. They would say, "We feel you." So I couldn't understand that. But anyway, so these kids, I showed them how to make presentation. As you know, Africans, we're always presenting. We get up and make big speeches. You introduce yourself. So these kids came up and they gave me an envelope that said, you know, you talk about Africa all the time. So we know you miss your parents. And so we want you to be able to go home and visit them. So they gave me this envelope. I opened the envelope and all the pennies, money started rolling up. And I picked it up. I had some dollars, but a
Yeah.
lot of pennies, dimes, different things. So about $10 worth. So this, I said, "Oh my God!" So I started to cry. The tears wanted to fall. I didn't want them to see the tears fall, but I knew that they. So I went, and then the kid said to one of them said to me, "What? The money is not enough?" I said, "Enough for what? To go to Africa? We want you to go back home." I said, so I brought the globe to show them. So they thought I came from Africa
Uh
in the morning and went home at
huh.
night. So they had, but just look
Yeah.
at what the kids did, collecting money for me to pay my way to
Oh,
go home.
I love that.
Isn't that wonderful? That thing got to me. I mean that these
Uh
young
huh.
kids talking to them about Africa, talking to them, we know you love the place. We know you miss your parents. So they brought collected $10 for me to go back to, I guess they thought I was taking a bus, you know. So when I brought the globe and showed that to them, and they go, "Oh my God, it is so, so far away." But then why? They said, "Why did you come here? You're so far," you know. And then, yeah, but that story endeared me. I could not believe. I mean, boo-hoo, oh, I cried like a baby because I could not believe
That
that I had been sharing information with them about being in the community, that yeah, they had collected money for me to go
that
home and could make a presentation.
that
It was amazing.
that
I mean, I have never
that's a
forgotten that.
beautiful story.
And kids asked me to teach them uh, about cooking for. I used to cook for
That
adults. I used to have these dinner theaters until I did this workshop, and the kid asked me, "What do you know? What do you eat?" So I asked them, "Where do you think Africans get the food from?" They said they hunt for their food. I said, "Okay, I'm African. I live on Capitol Hill. So where do you think I get my food?" So you hunt your food from where? Rock Creek Park. So I laughed until the tears. And yeah, yeah, they thought that's what. And I'm thinking, "Oh my God." So they said, so I told them no. And then they said, "Well, can you do an African food workshop?" From that day to this day, I decided that's who I'm going to cook for.
that
So I'm the chef for children. I when I cook for adult, it's very
that
expensive.
I love it.
But for children, yeah, that's who I give everything I've got to them because they said, "Well, can you teach us?" So I would take them to the market because I said, "Okay, you go to the market, the Africans would go to the market, purchase the food, come home and prepare." So I took them
Mhm.
to the market. And when they got to the market, I told them they will meet different ethnic groups, different people around the world. So I told them, go up and ask Muhammad, "Where are you from?" And then he would tell you. So just sharing with them that the world is
Yeah.
yours. You can meet people everywhere. And yeah, so for the children, so I've been, and that's been many,
Hmm.
many years. I decided that's the
I
people I'm
love
going
it.
to work for. And even if they don't have money to pay me,
Yeah.
but they have hearts. They hug you. I the other day this kid comes out and he said, "Oh, thank you for all you do for us." I mean, a six
Right.
year old. I mean, can you imagine? Thank you for all you do for
Right.
us. I mean, they are
Yeah.
amazing. Some of the things. So I listen
Right.
to them. Ask them, what do you want? I know two foods they like. They like
Uh-huh.
pizza and they like
Right.
macaroni and cheese.
Well, tell me what do they end up
But
liking after they get a good meal from you? What do most kids really fall in love with? The thing out of the things you cook.
the couscous and spinach
Uh,
cilantro. A kid gave me the
uh,
recipe. He said, okay, spinach, he said, was bland. He said, well, can you blend it with something? Like, can you mix it up with this kid now is 14 years old now. He's
uh,
volunteering with
gosh.
food. So yeah, and he said, well, can you mix
Uh,
cilantro? So I said, oh, let me try it. And I try it and work out. It's the best. The other food they like, we make fruit
yeah,
salad.
I love it.
So just fruit, they cut it up and they
Uh,
blend it. So I can't, I don't care how much. And we use the dressing is yogurt,
uh,
strawberry yogurt. That's the
gotcha.
dressing. So we mix apples, uh, honeydew, grapes.
Okay.
Yeah. So the children are the chefs.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it.
So I'm most grateful. I got the
Yeah,
best
you
cooks.
got the best job. I'm in admiration of everything that you do. So let's end off like this. Well, tell the people what projects that you're currently working on, and where can people find you? Where can they find you? Get these lovely cards, cheer for you, pray for you, support you. What are you currently working on, and how do they support you?
Okay, we're working on the jazz appreciation for
Okay.
elementary kids, elementary school children. So that's the major thing. So every week an artist is coming out. The other thing we're working on is eating
Mm,
healthy, teaching children, continue to teach the children and these cards about Africa. So everybody they draw the map of
mm,
Africa and they come up, they do the imagination
right,
storytelling, tell a story about a place, and they
right,
come up with it. So one of the places I've learned and this we do
right,
with him, your guy, Mansa
right.
Musa. This is the griots where they learn to tell their stories.
Mm,
So you can reach me at www dot Oye, Oye, Palaver, Palav, like Victor, Hut, HUT
mm,
org. So that's www dot Oye, Oye, Palaver, Palaver, hut, or you can call me 202-547-4899. 202-547-4899.
right. And for those of you who are driving and you weren't able to get it, don't worry. I will have her email me everything in the show notes, and then I'll put it on the website and in the show notes so that you can connect with her. You can email her, call her, visit the website. Um, Auntie Oye, it has been a pleasure to have you on. What last thing that you would like to give to the people to kind of tell them about you and the work that you do and uh, how they should view Africa. Anything that you want to give the people, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Well, try to learn as much as you can about yourself. When you learn about yourself, you'll learn about Africa. Because if it wasn't for your ancestors, you owe a lot to your ancestors. Always try to remember the work they did. We're here trying to vote the same voting rights that have been voting forever. Remember your ancestors and go out and vote for them. The things that they couldn't do, we can do. So please, 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 I'm begging you, the African way, please go out. Remember, you owe that much to yourself, to be kind to yourself and your ancestors. Honor them, revere them. They did a lot of work.
Yeah, yes, they did.
The reason you don't have to do that work, they did it
Right.
already. And I want to thank you all for listening. I want to thank you all for listening and doing the best. Be kind to each other, please, because we're in this together. If you don't have anything, I wouldn't have anything. If I have something, you will have something. We're in this together. So, Mr. Terrell Simmons, I can't thank you enough for inviting me to be here with you. Thank you. So I've enjoyed it. I want to do it
Oh, I'm gonna
again
hold you to that. I
sometime.
will bring you back, and we will do it
Oh,
again. You guys heard it here first.
okay.
Auntie
Thank
Oye
you.
said that we could do this again, so I'm gonna make sure that we find a way to do it again. All right, everybody. This has been another episode of Rise Urban Nation. You have heard the wonderful story of Auntie Oye. We'll put the website, the links up. Be kind to one another, love one another, make your ancestors proud. We are all who our ancestors have dreamed, hoped, and prayed for. Let's keep their legacies alive and keep pushing everything forward. Thank you for tuning in.